All right, let's talk about the Jets, who are obviously in such a unique situation, being that they're kind of in an all-in type year. It's Aaron Rodgers' second year. Obviously, the disappointment of him getting injured right away into his first year, but they don't want that to happen again. So first, what you're looking at on the screen, just to explain the chart. All the way at the left, that is when the player was drafted. The next number over is when they were projected to be drafted on the consensus big board, then their name and their position. So Alou Fashanu was drafted 11th, was projected to be drafted 15th. So it's a quote-unquote slight reach, but it's not really. I think that was around the range where he was supposed to be selected. It's interesting. I was wondering with the Jets, do they consider a trade up, like with the Chargers, for example, try to get a Malik Neighbors, try to really shore up that receiving core? They did not make that call. They decided to go for Lou Fashanu, and someone who could potentially even start this year on the bench is at first glance a question mark. And why would you do something like that if you're a team that's trying to compete right now? Well, because you have two older tackles, and the reality is the idea that no one's going to get hurt is very surprising. I was a little surprised, though, they didn't go with a guy like Talise Fuaga, who can play multiple different positions, or at least you feel like his build would be that can play multiple different positions. But Fashanu's pass blocking is better than Fuaga's, and I think they just want to help protect Aaron Rodgers. I think they're just like, let's not let what happened last year happen again. That's priority number one. They've added now 3 tackles, 2 in free agency, with Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith, and now Fashanu. Can't if the tackle doesn't work last year, you can't say it was for lack of trying, because definitely pumping a bunch of resources there. And Malachi Corley, tough names. It's hard because I only read the names. I never hear the names because all I do is my evaluation. I don't listen to the broadcast, so I always mispronounce everyone's name. So that's the drinking game, is take a drink every time that I mispronounce a name. But Corley, interesting player. Definitely doesn't have a complete route tree, which is part of why he fell all the way to where he did. It's a very physical player, and I think could be more of an inside guy, which the Jets could certainly use. Because, again, Garrett Wilson's a great outside guy. If Mike Williams is healthy, he's a really good outside guy. Little surprised this is all they did at the receiver position. I almost expected maybe you trade up in the second round and get a receiver as well. I just want them to trade, I guess. But, decided not to do that. And they drafted multiple running backs, which we have to talk about. Let's just talk about those guys next, and then we'll get to everyone else. Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, essentially, if you combine them, you'd have the best running back in football, because Allen is like this big bruiser, he'll run you over type guy, and then Davis is definitely more of the, not that guy, more of a guy who wants to get outside the numbers and make things happen that way. So getting guys who can do different things for different situations is helpful. Obviously they don't need a starting running back. They have Breece Hall, who I blanked on his name, so I had to pull up the depth chart to remind myself. But they're not looking for a starting back, but maybe instead of getting spending a quality pick trying to get a guy who can do it all, they're spending multiple picks getting different guys who can do it all in specific situations. So if it's a 4th and 1, you can throw Allen out there. There's value in that. He was projected to go 101st. He went 134th, so you're getting the a little bit of value that way as well. I'll be honest, though, I don't know if I loved these selections. And again, part of why I was thinking maybe a trade makes sense is I think this is a pretty complete team. Not to say that there's no holes, but I think that, maybe trying to get maybe a star or two might have been the right move for me personally. Again, maybe they tried and no one wanted to trade, or maybe they feel like this is, wide running back depth was an important issue, and it was an issue. They did need to address it. Like, they did need to get some, a backup running back, and they did that. So I get it. And again, we're talking 173 for Isaiah Davis. Not exactly the highest quality pick or anything like that, but still, the good players are picked at that spot, right? So that's the thing. Jordan Travis was a very unique decision. I'm sure there's the jokes of, is Aaron Rodgers going to get upset about this one? No, I think he was upset when a first-round pick was selected on a quarterback when they just made the NFC Championship game. Don't think he'll be upset about 171 going to a quarterback. I think that he can understand. But, I don't love it. I'll be honest. I don't love this pick because they have a good backup as well. And the logic is, hey, maybe, I mean, Aaron Rodgers has proven to be a good teacher with Jordan Love, right? So let's maybe draft a quarterback who has some really good physical traits. Hopefully we can develop him. If not, then we wasted pick 170, 171, not the end of the world. I understand the logic. I just kind of feel like, man, if I have Aaron Rodgers, if I have this defense, if I have Garrett Wilson and this tackle situation, I'm trying to win a Super Bowl right now. I'm not focused on 3-4 years from now. And maybe that's short-sighted, but I feel like we see this in other sports all the time where teams are more willing to go in. Football teams just are so unwilling to do it, to put themselves in a bad situation, which, again, I get the logic behind it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do, but I don't think it's what I would have done personally. Then we have a couple interesting ones. So Quantex Stiggers is an interesting guy who Stiggers is a guy, his story is unbelievable. So he's someone who, a tragic story, as his father died and he dropped out of college. But then he's eventually was in that 7-on-7. He was in 7-on-7 indoor football, and he did good enough that he made it to the CFL, where he kind of had a great season, and so that's kind of what's created him as a prospect. So it's a very unique run. And that's probably going to hurt his draft stock. He was projected to go 229, gets selected at 176, though. It is an interesting player. He's someone who does, I did not follow him closely, but from reading about him, is someone who does have good, really good athletic traits, and definitely is someone who, I think does have real potential here, and maybe would have been a higher prospect had he just stayed in, had he been able to stay in college, due to, obviously he left for, for personal reasons, which is understandable. But, it does make you wonder if he could have been a higher pick, and maybe you're getting a diamond in the rough, perhaps. Although, again, NFL teams are pretty smart. They're aware of all this stuff as well. They're following this, but there's certainly a, usually when you see pick 176 corner, you're like, special teams guy. There might actually be more to him than just that here. And Jalen Key, another guy who there might be more than just this, could be a depth piece defensively. They did not spend a lot of effort. The Jets have pretty much said, our defense is good. Let's just keep it where we're at, which, you always got to improve, but have not, they only spent, the only 2 picks they spent on defense were their last 2 picks. Jalen Key, someone who, again, has the size to be a safety, definitely is a very raw player, and he's Mr. Irrelevant, so there you go. Which I always found weird. Why do we do the Mr. Irrelevant thing? I never understood it. Why do we have to call someone Mr. Irrelevant? It's it's a great honor to be drafted. It's a really incredible accomplishment. Why do we make it like a weird thing? I don't know. It's fun. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. It's just a weird thing that we do. But yeah. So congratulations to Key. Hey, you got drafted. Well done. But yeah. As a whole, an up and down draft, but I would say, they got some good players. I didn't love every selection. I just didn't. And I think there could have been some maybe more value gotten here, but still, I think a quality draft. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.